That's just perfect. Hey, it's Namu here, the warrior musician for Hidden Rhythms Music Circles. Today I want to talk to you about perfectionism. And I'm chuckling, I've got a smile on my face right now because this video is going to be anything but perfect. I mean, I'm wearing my old comfy t-shirt here. I'm Can you hear that? I have a very stir crazy child of mine outside this room making a lot of noise. That might show up on this video, I don't know. I have not groomed my face in a couple of days. The backdrop is not thrilling. It's kind of distracting, actually, being right next to this window where it's sunny. Perfectionism. So, what really brought this to my mind was a friend of mine from a mastermind group that I'm in asked me to do a project for a Father's Day event that she was doing. She asked me to play some native flute and maybe talk about like the inspiration for what I was playing, that sort of thing. So I came up with a concept, and it included images of my father, it included images of me with my children, and it included all original music. Now, the challenge for me was not the music itself. The challenge for me was mixing and mastering the music for the video. Editing the video itself is, there are things I would have liked to have changed about that, but considering that I'm doing all my video editing on an iOS device, I'm doing all my video editing on my phone. I was okay with the way that part of it turned out. As far as music goes, I am just learning how to use a software application called Logic Pro, and that's a professional level music mixing and mastering software. And for me, there's quite a learning curve, and I'll be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing. And for me, through this whole process, especially with the music, and like I said, there were things about the video itself, the imagery of the video itself, that I would have liked to have changed. But for me, the music was it was a challenge, and that challenge was, well, one, in a very literal sense, getting the different tracks of music to line up properly. And the reason I mention how robust Logic is that there are software tools to be able to help you when things don't line up perfectly, and I have absolutely no idea how to use those yet. But for me, the real challenge came as I'm watching parts of this video over and over again, making sure things line up the way that I wanted them to. The thoughts that started to creep into my head. And I started having those thoughts of perfectionism, and I would hear something where the rhythm of the drum I was playing wasn't quite on the beat, and I just wanted to scrap the whole thing. Or my intonation on the native flute was a little off, and I wanted to re-record the whole 4 minutes because of it. And yes, in recording studio situations, it's not uncommon for musicians to be like that, and or producers. And there's a story I heard once of Elvis insisting that I think they ended up doing 54 takes of one particular song because it wasn't the way he wanted it. And I didn't have time to do that with this project, because when she asked me to do this, I was traveling and didn't have all my equipment with me. And so, my timeline when I got back to get this out by the time that she wanted it was shorter than, it was short enough I couldn't do 54 takes of the music. Let's put it that way. The thought process, though, I started to think, oh my gosh, people Like, she told me the size of her email list. She's like, hey, this is gonna, it's gonna get seen by some people, give you some exposure for your business. And I was really excited by that, but then at the same time, I was thinking to myself as I'm seeing this, as I'm working on the editing, it's like, oh my gosh, this isn't good enough. What are these people that have no idea who I am? They're gonna think this is all I've got. They're gonna think this is the whole of what I have to offer to the world. And I asked my wife, who is a psychologist, I said, hey, is perfectionism a disorder, like obsessive compulsive disorder? And in her very New Yorker way, she said, absolutely not. It's not. If anything, it's a personality trait. And she started talking about, where it comes from and everything. And I've known that I've had this issue for a long time. I remember in my undergrad program, my music therapy professor, my mentor, said to me, I don't remember what we were talking about. I think we were discussing one of my recitals. And she point blank said to me, you're a perfectionist, aren't you? And I said, yeah, I guess I am. And she gave me the best advice I've ever gotten with something like this. You're a perfectionist? Get over it. And then she talked about, like in this case of the, being prepared for the recital, I believe the exact phrase she said was, this was classical guitar recital. She said, practice your little nubs off. And I got through the recitals okay, but I'm sorry to say, Dr. C, that perfectionism is back. I don't know if it ever really left. And I was starting to get really upset about this idea of, like I almost wanting to apologize for my work, saying, well, this isn't as good as I'd like it to be, but here it is anyway. And I realized, I remembered something that I heard Ira Glass say. He does This American Life on National Public Radio. And he's been doing it for, 20 some years, something like that. But he was talking about how when creative people start putting things out into the world, that at first it's not very good. And he talked about a lot of times when we start out, we have a vision for what we want things to be like, but our skills, our experience don't match what that vision is. And no, this isn't my first rodeo. I mean, I've been a musician for most of my life. And as far as, starting a business, I keep saying I'm starting a business. I've been working at this very slowly for a few years now. But I'm also an overthinker. Not just somebody who suffers from perfectionism at times, but I also overthink everything. And so a lot of times that serves me well because I've got, I've got a fairly polished product to put out before anybody ever sees it, as opposed to putting something out there and then making revisions. But that doesn't always serve me well. And we were talking recently in this mastermind group about, I think we weren't talking about me specifically, but like this was really speaking to me, is that we just have to put things out there. I think we were talking about people that are nervous about making videos and putting themselves out there in that way. And one of the people in the group had said, that she had decided that she was just going to start putting stuff out there. And I think it should be a hashtag because it kind of became like a rallying cry for our group. Although, come to think of it, I haven't seen a lot of people sharing stuff like that, so I'm going to call them out. But the idea is just upload it. I'm seeing all these people, like one of my sons likes to watch Minecraft videos on YouTube, and there are these players out there that have corporate sponsorship, and so all they have to do is shoot the video, and then they've got somebody that cuts it together and makes it look perfect and it's wonderful, right? In my life, in my business, that guy is me. I do all of it at this point. I'm shooting the videos, I'm cutting them together and producing them. And so I'm, not that I necessarily want to put stuff out that I think is just that's poor quality, but maybe putting things out there as opposed to not putting them out there. That doesn't make any sense. Favoring good enough over perfect and putting things out there. So that's what my intention is. I'm going to start producing more content. And not the type of stuff like this used to irritate me early on when people are doing email marketing and things and they're sending you multiple emails a day and it's just fluff and it's worthless. That's not my intention at all. What I'm saying is that I want to start putting content out there that I think may be of value to someone, but I'm going to try to be that whole concept of, and here's the overthinking again, that whole concept of striving for excellence while realizing that perfection is just an illusion. Find your voice, share it. Hashtag just upload it. Mic drop. Cool. Are you okay?